Hello everyone, welcome back to the SOC Analyst 100 Days Learning Challenge. It is day number 6 and today we are unlocking one of the coolest superpower you can have as a cybersecurity analyst, the MITRE ATT&CK Framework. So if you have ever wished you had a cheat sheet for all tricks hacker use, well, this is it. So think of it as the map of the hacker's brain, and today I will show you how it works, why it matters, and how you can use it in the SOC like a pro. So let's start simple. So what we are going to cover in this video: what is MITRE ATT&CK? Why should SOC analyst care about MITRE ATT&CK? The structure of the MITRE ATT&CK, real world examples of MITRE ATT&CK in action, and then wrapping up why MITRE ATT&CK is your superpower. So let's start simple. What is MITRE ATT&CK? So the MITRE ATT&CK framework, adversarial tactics, techniques, and common knowledge. It's a knowledge base. So it's a knowledge base, we can say, that catalog cyber attack behavior based on real world observations. So MITRE is a non-profit organization that work with government agencies, created attack to help organization understand how adversaries operate in cyberspace. So stands for adversarial tactic, technique, and common object. Fancy name, right? But here is the deal: it is basically a huge knowledge base, but document real world hacker behavior. So, tactics are attackers' goal, like breaking in, stealing data, or evading detections, and technique are the methods they use, like phishing email, PowerShell command, or credential dumping, and procedures are the specific example of how those techniques were actually used in the attack. So in short, MITRE ATT&CK equal to a living encyclopedia of how attackers think and act. All right, so here we have some frequently asked question. So what is attack? So attack is a knowledge base of cyber adversary behavior and taxonomy for adversarial action across their life cycle. Attack has two parts: attack for enterprise, which cover behavior against enterprise, IT network and cloud, and attack for mobile, which focus on behavior against mobile devices. So why did MITRE develop attack? So MITRE started attack in 2013 to document common tactic, technique, and procedure, the TTPs, so that advanced persistent threat use against Windows Enterprise Network. So it was created out of need document behavior to use within a MITRE research project called FMX. Here we have what are tactics. So tactics represent why of an attack, technique, or sub technique. So it is the adversary tactic goal, the reason of performing an action. For example, an adversary may want to achieve credential access. So tactics represents why. What are techniques? So technique represents how. So an adversary achieve a tactical goal by performing an action. For example, an adversary may dump credential to achieve credential access. So technique represents how. And what are the sub techniques? So sub techniques are the more specific description of the adversarial behavior used to achieve a goal. So they describe behavior at a lower level than a technique. So a single technique can have multiple sub techniques. And what are the procedures? So procedures are the specific implementation the adversary uses for technique or sub technique. So how can I use attack? MITRE ATT&CK help you detect threat more accurately because you know what to look for in the log. Then investigate incident by mapping attackers' behavior step by step. Threat hunting, hunt threats proactively instead of waiting for alerts. And even you can work uh, with red teams and purple teams because it gives everyone a common language. So basically, it turns you from reacting to alert to actually staying one step ahead of attacker school, right? So this is a pain of pyramid of pain model. So here you can see hash value is detecting a hash value is tribal. uh, IP address detection is so easy. Then we have domain name, which is also very simple. Network host artifact is annoying. Tools detection are challenging. But if we talk about the technique, tactic, and behavior of the attacker, so it is very tough. So that's where the MITRE attack plays a vital role. So here we can see how can I use attack. So attack can be used in several ways to help security operation, threat intelligence, and security architecture. So see the get started page for resources and how to start using attack. So also there are some resource section that we can check. So let's jump on the get started page. So get started page explains what is attack. So there is a video as well. I will provide the link in the description so you can go and check key concepts, what are tactics, techniques, sub-technique, and procedure. And attack is organized in a series, technology, domain, ecosystem, and adversary operate within. So currently there are three technology domain: enterprise, which represents the traditional enterprise network and cloud technologies, and then we have mobile communication devices, ICS for industrial control system. So these three domains are the platform, which may be an operating system or application, easy Microsoft Windows or Linux, and techniques and sub-techniques can apply to multiple platform. So here you can see how can I use attack. So you can use attack in detection and analytics. So you can create detection rule, finding cyber threat within analytics, status queue presentation. So you can go and check here how you can start using the uh, attack in the detection and analytics section. Then we have threat intelligence. So attack gives analytic a common language to structure, compare, and analyze threat intelligence. So you can go and check how you can use the attack in threat intelligence. Then we have adversary emulation and red teaming. So red team can use to emulate specific threats and plan their operations. Assessment and engineering. So attack can be used to access your organization's capability and drive engineering decisions, what tools or logging you should implement, and how should I not use attack. So uh, don't try to achieve 100% coverage. So every organization face its own unique cyber threat, right? So not every tactic and technique will apply to everyone. So prioritize ones that are most relevant to you and ensure you are prepared for them. And don't shout bingo when you have one technique just because you have identified a single way to adversary has done a technique doesn't mean it's time to declare success and color a box green. So adversaries have multiple ways they can perform most techniques. So look for and understand other ways uh, a technique may be accomplished. So don't limit yourself to the matrix. Remember the attack matrix only document observed real world behaviors. So adversaries may have a series of other behaviors. So it is not a full proof, right? So now let's walk through the structure quickly. MITRE attack is organized into a stage of an attack, so kind of like attacker's journey. So we have initial access, how the attacker first get in, usually the phishing or exfiltration or exploiting a vulnerable app. Then we have execution, so Here attacker running the malicious code like using PowerShell or a script. Then we have persistence. So persistence making sure they stay in with backdoor or startup task. Privilege escalations make sure they're trying to get admin rights. Defense evasion, hiding from you, maybe disabling antivirus. And credential access, so stealing username and password. Discovery and lateral movement, so scanning the network and moving deeper into the systems. Then we have collection is like collecting all your data. And then exfiltration, so exfiltration and impact exfiltration and impact is stealing data, encrypting file, or causing chaos. So think of it like a playbook, and once you learn it, you will start spotting these moves in the real world. So in the previous lesson, we have learned about the cyber kill chain, and kill chain have 7 phases: recon, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, and the action of objective. So MITRE is more granular, and we can say it's a deep technique, tactics, and procedure. So it's a collection of deep technique, tactics, and procedure. So you can see here we have 10 to 11 steps: initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, lateral movement, collection, and exfiltration. So it is more deep, and having lot of technique, tactic, and procedure, also the sub technique. So currently everybody is using the MITRE attack. So real world examples, uh, like the infamous Notpetya. So Notpetya is a ransomware attack. Let's talk about it. So they got it through a supply chain attack. That's initial access. Then they used PowerShell to execute the malware. Next, they escalated privilege and spread laterally using tool like WMI and RDP. Finally, they caused massive impact by encrypting critical files. So, if you map it in MITRE attack, you can see exactly how the attack unfolded, and that's the real power. It help you understand, detect, and respond smarter. So, let's go to the uh, demo and see. So here you can see the Notpetya is mapped in the MITRE attack. So Notpetya is a malware that used by Sandworm team in the worldwide attack starting from June 27, 2017. So you can see the associated software description. So Notpetya used these softwares. So if you see these software in your organization, that means you are under attack. And what techniques they used? So they used data encryption for impact, exploitation of remote services, file and directory, and indicator removals, masquerading, OS credential dumping, and the list is so long, so I'm not going to cover it. And every technique have a technique ID, also the sub technique ID, and here is the description how they used it. So you go and check Notpetya, and here are some references. So if you want to read the articles about the Notpetya, you can always visit to the references. And the enterprise matrix having pre-Windows, Mac, Linux, cloud. And if you expand cloud, Office suite, identity provider, SaaS, IaaS, network device, container, EXI. So you can get all the technique, tactics, and procedure for these technologies. And this is how the enterprise matrix look like for Windows. Cool, right? So these are the tactics. So we have this much tactics, and These are the techniques and how many techniques we have available. Also, every technique has some multiple sub techniques. So if you click on one, it will give you the complete detail about the technique and also the sub technique. And there is some procedure examples. So let me know if you have any doubt. I can cover it in other videos. So I'm planning to create a complete crash course for MITRE. So let me know if you want the MITRE crash course. Now let's wrap up why MITRE attack is your superpower. So that's the MITRE attack in a nutshell. As a SOC analyst, it is like having X-ray vision into how attackers think, learn it, use it, and it is all label up your detection response and threat hunting skill big time. Now I want to hear from you, which part of attack framework do you find most interesting? So as I told, I'm going to after completing this 100 days challenge, I'm going to create a crash course for MITRE attack. So uh, let me know your thought in the comment box, and don't forget hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around for day 7 of the SOC analyst challenge. So we are getting warmed up. Thank you guys.